Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let me show you how you can use a shortcut to compress scans on your iPhone for smaller file sizes. So a common problem I hear about is when people use their iPhone to scan things like receipts and other documents, and they notice that the scans are pretty large. Dedicated scanning apps can sometimes produce much smaller file sizes. The scan is the same, it's just that they're using a lot of image compression to get a smaller file, and the default scanning function on the iPhone just doesn't do that. So for instance, here in the Files app, if I'm in a folder and I want to scan a document, I can tap the three dots button here and use Scan Documents. And then I'll get files that look like this. You can see this one here is just a simple receipt. It's not even very large, not a whole sheet of paper, yet it's half a meg in size. And this one is 2 sheets of paper. It's got a color image and all, but it still seems a little bit big at over 2.5 megs. So the thing is, as long as you're using the scan function in the Files app or in another app like Notes or something, you're probably not going to get any smaller files than this. You can change some settings like make it grayscale instead of color, and it'll improve it a little bit. But if you really want smaller sizes, what you're going to have to do is either use a third-party app or compress the file afterwards. Fortunately, you can create a shortcut in the Shortcuts app that can compress these and make them much smaller. So I'm going to show you how to build this shortcut from scratch. So this video has 2 purposes. One is to provide you with a shortcut that will do this, and the other is to teach you some shortcut skills. But I'll provide a download link for the shortcut as well. So I'm going to create a new shortcut here, and I'm going to name it Compressed Scan. Now, scans, of course, are going to produce PDFs, and if we search for PDF, we'll find there is optimized file size of PDF, which would seem like exactly what we want to do. Fortunately, it doesn't work very well. It won't go to the extremes that you really want with a scan to make the file size smaller. It'll just compress something like a PDF with very high resolution images into something with medium resolution images. So you're welcome to experiment with optimized file size, but you'll probably end up with sizes that are just a little bit smaller or maybe not even smaller at all from the originals. Instead, we're going to take a different approach. We're going to use split PDF into pages. So this is going to take each page of a PDF and allow us to process it individually. So here for the document, instead of tapping there and selecting a specific document, I'm going to tap and hold, and I'm going to select Shortcut Input. So this will then add the receive action at the top, and I can customize that to only use PDFs. Scans will be PDFs. Now, it's important to note that this is specifically for scanned PDFs. Scanned PDFs are images. If you have 3 pages, it's 3 images put together into a 3-page PDF. You should try to use this on a regular PDF, like a form you may download, or say something created in Pages or Word or InDesign or something like that. Those types of PDFs actually embed the text and the curves and the fonts and everything like that. And this shortcut is actually going to just convert those to JPEG images, which will reduce the quality and probably make the file size larger. So this is specifically for scans, not all PDFs. So now that's going to receive PDFs from, and then we'll tap here and we'll say Show in Share Sheet, and that's the only one we want to use here. Now it's going to take that and then pipe that into Split PDF. And now that we have a list of pages, what we want to do now is we want to repeat with each page. So I'm going to search for repeat and do repeat with each. So it's going to repeat with each item in the PDF pages. And now I'm going to search for make. And there's an action here for make image from PDF page. I'm going to use that. We're going to have to drag that into the repeat loop there. And then it's going to make, and I don't want a PDF image, I want a JPEG image because we want to compress these. And it's going to use the repeat item, which is exactly what we want. So every page. You have options here, and the options are the most important thing here. If you just try to use this normally, it's going to take a high resolution scan and give you a high resolution scan. Instead, we want to convert it using the dots per inch. Now you would think that, okay, let's do something like 72 dots per inch for low resolution. But with my experimentation, I found 24 dots per inch worked really well. It was still a readable scan, but at a much smaller file size. But this is a key number here. You're going to want to experiment with that. Maybe 36 is going to be better for you, or 50, or something like that. Also, you may want to consider changing RGB to grayscale. In other words, get rid of the color. If you're scanning documents for record keeping, like receipts and things like that, you don't necessarily need to keep the color. So far, it's going to take the PDF, break it up into pages, repeat through it, and convert every image to a really well compressed JPEG. If you find these videos valuable, consider joining the more than 2,000 others that support MACMOST through Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Now, the way shortcuts works is that when you have a repeat loop, the output from the repeat loop is a list of all the things done through each iteration. So if there are 5 pages here, it will compress each of the 5 pages, and the repeat loop will output a list of JPEG images. So we want to next go ahead and search for PDF again, and there is a make PDF action here. And it's going to make PDF from the repeat results. There are some options here, but the default options work well for what we want. Now, we could just go and save the file at this point, but let's get a little fancy here and actually see how much space is going to be saved. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab a text action like this. And you could put whatever you want in this text here. So I'm going to start by typing just these words. And now at this point, instead of typing more, I'm going to choose select variable. And I'm going to select from the top here, this shortcut input. And then I'm going to do a return to the next line and then type. And the same thing here, I'm going to tap select variable, and I'm going to get the result from make PDF from, so this PDF here. Now, I don't want to show the shortcut input and the resulting PDF here. I want to show a property of those. So I'm going to tap on shortcut input and say, I don't want the actual PDF here. I want the file size. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the PDF here. I'm going to tap on that and choose file size. So now original size and new size, both the file sizes from the original PDF and the new PDF. So that's just in text now. What I'm going to do with that text is I'm going to use show alert. And I'm going to put that here. And the alert is actually going to be, I'm going to delete all of this, and I'm going to instead insert a variable. There's the variable right there, text. I can just have that as the text. And I can expand the options here. And I want the title of this to be something like this. Do you want to save the new version? And then very important, I want the option show cancel button to be shown. So when this alert appears, if you hit cancel, it'll just cancel the rest of this shortcut and it won't save the file. So if you notice the file size isn't that much better, or maybe it's larger or whatever, you can just cancel and not actually save it. Now I'm going to look for the action save file and add that here. Then I'm going to tap and hold on file and choose the PDF, the result from up here. The options are important here. I want ask where to save. This is important because the shortcut will not have permission to save anywhere but the shortcuts folder unless you use this ask where to save. When you do that, you're going to be prompted with a little dialog where you need to select a folder. So you need to do this, and you're basically giving the shortcut permission to save the file. You're probably going to want to save it in the same place as the original scan, although you don't need to. But it's better than having it saved to the shortcuts folder and then having to go in there and find it. Now, the new files could have a generic file name, but we want to name it the same thing as the original, but maybe with a little bit appended to it. So we want to get the name of the original file here. So we're going to search for details, and there's get details of files right there. So we want the detail to be the name, and we don't want the name of the saved file. We want the name of the actual shortcut input, the original file. And then we're going to use rename, and then tap and hold and select variable, and then select the saved file, and then name it. And then here we're going to select variable and select this name, the original name, but we're going to keep typing. And I'm going to just do a dash and compressed. But you could use something different if you want, just maybe a single letter if you like. Now, the reason we had to use name here instead of just using shortcut input and getting the name from the shortcut input, like we got the file size earlier, is it doesn't seem to work. So just this little extra step here to get around that. And that's it. This shortcut should now allow us to compress scans. Let's give it a try. So here in the Files app, I've got that receipt folder and I've got this bill right here. Let me tap and hold it, and then I can go to Share. And then if I scroll down a bit, I'll see Compress Scan. I'm going to select that, and then it'll do the compression, and you can see here it will give me the original size and the new size. And you can see the savings are impressive. So I'm going to tap OK instead of Cancel, indicating that I want to save it. Now, it's going to ask where I want to save it. Fortunately, the last place I was working with is this same receipts folder, but you can navigate to any other place that you want. If you see recents up here, you want to switch to Browse here at the bottom, and you can go to another folder. So you can actually scan to some sort of default folder that everything gets scanned to, and then use this as a way to file away the copy you're going to keep. I'm just going to save it here inside of this receipts folder. So I'm going to tap Open, and it's going to ask for permission, but only the first time, as long as you tap Always Allow. And now you can see I've got that dinner bill, $70K. So here's the original. And then this is the one that now should have recompressed every image on every page to a 24 dots per inch JPEG. And you could see it looks pretty good. Let's try it with this document here. This is what the original looks like. And I can zoom in a bit and you could see how the quality is. Let's go ahead and tap and hold, Share, and then let's scroll down a bit, Compress Scan, and then you could see I'm going to get considerable size savings there as well. Tap OK. This is where I'm going to save it. So I tap Open, and now I've got that new version there. We see the size. Let's go and take a look here and look at the quality here, and it looks pretty good. Notice it's still color. Even though I selected gray, for some reason, that aspect of it didn't seem to work, but I was able to get a considerably smaller file. Now, one of the reasons I show you every step of creating a shortcut like this is I want to encourage people to customize this to their liking. Certainly experiment with the compression amount like I showed, but also the file naming. And if you're feeling really industrious, you may want to experiment with allowing multiple files instead of just one at a time. It's possible using an outer loop that will look at multiple files that come in through the share sheet action. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. Want to know about every new MACMOST video each week? Sign up for the absolutely free MACMOST email newsletter at macmost.com/newsletter.